The very first, what they do, the process is they come in, they take the test, then we give them a list of contractors. They find their own first employer, so every one of them found their own employer. What has been happening recently is employers like Cullen, they'll go and they'll ask other employees. And they'll use that process. They'll say, hey, do you know anybody good someone that would be good in the Carpenters, that would be a good worker for us. They'll request that they come and take the test, and then they'll go to Cullen and Cullen will sponsor them indenture into the trade. But everybody that's in class currently secured their own first employment. They have to have the job before, yep, they have to have a sponsor, someone to indenture them before they come into the program. So that's one good aspect. You get the contractor buy into it. They have to be employed, they have to be physically working. Typically, an apprentice, good apprentice, is making less than wages, so a lot of times what they'll do is they'll try to keep them on. Cullen's actually proactive. They try to get them experience in each area, which is our end goal. Some contractors we have, like the interior systems, that's mainly what they do. They do interior systems, so it's a little bit tougher getting them a well-rounded experience. If they come to us and they show a need that they want to go, let's say they want to do form work. What we're trying to do is work out something where they can go do some form work with another contractor if they want to go back to interior systems. We want to get them well-rounded so that they can touch and everything. And Cullen's actually pretty good at that. They've got a board set up, and they've got a group set up that's kind of tracking all their apprentices. So that's our end goal is to get them well-rounded. Sometimes, and with the situation I said with Cullen, they'll come down, they'll take the test, and be working the next day, and then they'll be in the next scheduled class. As long as the big thing is they have to pass that test. If Cullen sends someone down to take the test, you pass it, we get the indenturement papers. As soon as we get the papers, they get signed in the union. But that's typically how it works. If Cullen sends someone over, they take the test, they know that, they have an employer, they'll be in the next scheduled class. So it's probably, it could be 6 months depending on where the class schedule runs.
How long does that test take? I can bet there's some kids can probably take it.
Hour and a half, I would say, is average, right?
Yeah, some that are really good at math.
Hour, yeah,
maybe,
if they're good at
half
math,
hour.
right? Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't. There's 50 questions. 7 questions. Okay, then just to give you a comparison between what our apprentices make the first 4 years of their year and what someone would typically spend to go to college, I've got this sheet here. We've got the carpenters, floor covers. I did a breakdown that they're working 730 hours every 6 months. Now keep in mind that there's roughly 1,000 hours every 6 months that they have available to them. So this is your bare minimum. So you look at level 1 for your carpenters. You look across there, you got 14,329 in wages. That's not too bad. Kid just getting out of school, that's not too bad. But then you look, their health benefits, $5,402 for the 6 months. Pension, you got $5,000 paid into your pension. And then we've got a 401k, which was $876. So for that first year, or for that first 6 month period, they could potentially make $25,607. If they have those 730 hours in, then they move up to the 2127. They carry that all the way down to the bottom. And with their benefits, their insurance, their wage, they could potentially make $238,309 in those 4 years. And the best thing about that is they're vested in their pension after 5 years. So if you go through the apprenticeship for 4 years, you stay 1 year past your vested date, you'll have $45,000, or actually you'll have $50,000 sitting there in a pension that you can use. So if you have kids that they're not sure if they want to go to college, what better way to save some money? Typically, if they get into trades, they'll stay in the trades. They love it. But that's still, after 5 years, you've got a pension. Plus, you've got this money. You can set this money aside, and you can pay for your college. I just took the average state college tuitions, and with our wages, with the tuition, your fees, your books, living expenses, I just took an average. Average is $18,570, and that's what a typical student is going to be paying out. And typically, when you get out of college, if you have just a regular bachelor's degree, they're either going to go on to school, and they're going to incur more debt, or they're going to get into the workforce. Typically, when they get into the workforce, they're really not going to make much above that rate. Roughly $20 an hour, or $32 an hour if they're a journeyman apprentice, or a journeyman apprentice, if they're a journeyman. If they work for a non-union contractor, if they work for the dad, or if they work for themselves, and they gain that necessary experience, they come in, they can take the journeyman's test, and if they pass the test, then it's actually the contractor's choice whether they're going to hire them, because we do have some current apprentices that actually passed the journeyman's test, myself included. I actually passed the journeyman's test at 37 years old because I didn't know anything about the trades really at all. So I passed the journeyman's test. I really didn't have much experience. Passed the test, and every question I had wrong had to do with concrete, and they said, well, we could send you out, you could go to residential framers, that was my background. But we really couldn't send you to general contractor because you don't have that experience in concrete. So they recommended I went through the apprenticeship. It's probably the best thing that I did, because had I not gone through the apprenticeship, I would have been kind of pigeonholed. That's all I would have been qualified to do was framing, wood framing. And there's steel framing, there's concrete forming, there's all different aspects. And I learned that through the apprenticeship. But yeah, you can gain your life experiences, go through it, take the journeyman's test. You don't necessarily have to go through the apprenticeship, but the apprenticeship will give you more of a well-rounded, give you, an idea of what's all covered under
I graduated high school in 2006, went to the Milwaukee School of Engineering, got a double bachelor's degree, construction management and architectural engineering. Started work for Cullen then at high school or at college, and then a year or so into it, started talking with some of our superintendents, some of our experienced tradesmen, operations managers, and then went and got it figured out that the road for me was going to carpentry to go into that superintendent role. There's really two paths after college. We'll stay with the two. Project management or superintendent. It also has to be in other roles like that. But I wanted to go into the superintendent role, and to gain experience, I'm going to go through the apprenticeship here with the Carpenters. That there is other college graduates that do go into the Carpenters trades. Matt did the same. And there is ways to get up to superintendent other than going to college. A lot of our superintendents, a lot of our foremen are through the apprenticeship. When we're going through high school, you get told go to college, you can get a good job and get good money. I got a raise when I joined the apprenticeship. So it's not all what that is. I paid $36,000 a year for college tuition, plus books, plus fees, plus room and board. This is a great career outlook. It's a great path to go into, and that's the reason I agreed when Mike asked to come here today. One thing you didn't point out is when you get out of the apprenticeship, you get your journeyman's card, you can get a 2 years degree through METC.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that earlier. You do actually get 39 credits through Madison College. We're affiliated. That's where our apprenticeship is affiliated through. So you get 39 credits once you complete it.
So you have that parent that you're going to go into the field instead of go to college. Well, they are going to college too. That I think is real cool about what I don't know if other trades do that as much as the carpenters. But, you know,
And in Nick's, not so much defense, but he came into the program, he could come in and say, I got a 5-year degree, I know more than you do.
you know, there's certain things I need to learn, there's certain trainings I can get, and the partnership they allow me to get with some of our experienced journeymen to see there's a right way and a wrong way to do anything, and then there's a better way than that probably too. And to be able to get that experienced journeyman to actually show you how to do it, that's what the apprenticeship is for.
And as an instructor, I just currently took a class at our International Training Center, it's workforce development. I'm getting credits through Penn State University. And with the goal of getting that bachelor's degree that I never had when I went, I took a couple classes here and there at college. But that's another opportunity that I've got through the training center. I'm a trainer now, but I'm still bettering myself. I'm learning the workforce education, workforce development. So that's another aspect of it, that get that ongoing training too.
You take 2 weeks off and you come here for the classes. They do offer some night classes for upgrade for journeymen. Your apprenticeship was it 14
14 weeks.
14 weeks of classes. And there's a couple upgrades that are above and beyond classes to make you more employable, to teach you another skill or another trade. You can come in as nights. You have some of those in the days too. It's more your question.
Yeah. Yeah, usually what they'll do is the employers will release them for a week. We'll have a week, typically right now it's 4 10-hour days. They'll come in, they'll do their classwork. Some of them choose to take Friday off to recover from schoolwork, or some of them go back to work on Friday and Saturday, so they make a partial week of income too on that. So that's typically, usually the week that they'll take off for a full week and they'll focus strictly on their schoolwork.
Do what your passion is. It's not what your parents say, it's not what, it's not to go out there and make $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $30 an hour. You gotta do what your passion is. In high school, I was real good at math. I scored 28 on the ECTs. I with a 3.7 GPA, I was pushed into engineering. I started going to school in college and I realized, this engineering job's gonna put me behind one of these desks, probably with a cubicle in front of it, the window's way over there, I can't see. So I added in the construction management degree to get out in the field. Get out in the field, and the field's where I belong. Grew up on a farm, grew up in the country. That's where my passion is. I want to go out there. What's the coolest thing about building buildings? At the end of the day, at the end of the site, you can walk back and say, I did that. It's just the pride and ownership of doing that.